Statement.
Just excited to be one of the 32 teams still playing, and just really excited to just have an opportunity and to be in this next game. So I thought, we survived in advance last night and had a good game. Not one of our better games, but good enough to, like I said, survive in advance. So we had a great shoot around today and a small practice, and just trying to stay focused on the game and what's in front of us.
Open it up for questions for the student athletes at this time. If you would raise your hand, we'll get our microphone to you. Pete with the first one here.
Jakira, you probably know a little bit about these guys. What are you going to have to do to stay in a game with a team that won a national championship last year?
It's just about going out and being confident in our game, sticking to our effort, our rebounding, and our defense, and just executing on offense. That's pretty much it. Just staying ourselves.
Yeah, I just follow that with having great effort on both ends of the floor, not taking plays off. They're a very tough team. We just have to meet their physicality or surpass it, and just come out there just being confident, whether it's our shot or defense, whatever it is, just stay confident and not pay attention to too much about what's on the front of their jerseys, but just, sticking to who we are as Virginia basketball.
Chris?
Along those same lines, I don't know if you were able to stick around and watch their game last night, but what have you been able to take away from watching film and stuff of what South Carolina does and what try to take away from them?
Well, they're a very physical team. They're very oriented in the post, and Wilson and her other two counterparts, and we know that they're going to be looking to get an inside, and they also have some strong play on the outside as guards, getting into pick and rolls and pull-up jumpers. So we got to make sure that we're defensively oriented, focusing on the post, making sure that it's hard. They always have tough touches.
Go back to Pete.
What's it like for you guys to know that you have a player who is taller than Asia Wilson and can be that kind of protector? Most teams don't have somebody like that. Is that kind of a comforting factor or a helpful factor for you guys?
I think it's very helpful just to know, we have Felicia down there, especially with the lobs that they like to throw to her. I'm very confident in our post defense with guarding her, but I think with Fee being out there, we can kind of deter some of those passes that they may think or they usually pass into her, and maybe, just deter, make them, skip it across the court or things like that. But we're very confident in our post defense all around.
Other questions for the student athlete? There's one in the back there in the TV row. Carson.
Obviously one of the storylines coming into the tournament was, what if you have South Carolina in the second round because of Dawn Staley? What does it mean now that you're here, now that, that's coming to fruition?
More than anything, it's a game. Every time we prepare for a team, we want to be 1-0 against this team, and we want to do whatever we need to do to be 1-0. So, in that regard, we're not really focused on, the outside stories that ESPN kind of likes to paint, but we are focused on, doing what we need to do to get the win.
Go back to Pete.
I'm guessing that after you guys got done over here, you did go home and you went to the hotel and watched the guys' game. That was a surprise to, I guess, everybody around the country, and probably it's a mix of surprise and hurt for you guys because you know those guys pretty well. What was that like? What are you feeling for them today?
Definitely sad. However, and if you watch some of their press conferences, they know the mistakes that they made. However, we're ready just to represent Virginia basketball all across, whether it's men's, women's, and we're ready to just make a statement for the team and for the program.
Yeah, I think that was just a fuel for us to just go out and play our game and, not worry about what's happening on the outside. But like last night, I watched some of that game and I immediately watched the film of South Carolina. So, it's just staying focused and focusing on ourselves.
That, and it's March, anything can happen. And like Jakira said, I think it's fuel, it's motivation, and you come to the realization that really and truly anything can happen in March Madness.
Any other questions for the student athletes? We've got Chris over here.
Just to follow up, Dawn Staley obviously was a legend at Virginia, but she graduated probably before any of you were born. So how much do you know about her legacy at Virginia and what she meant back in her playing days?
I think we all have a sense of her legacy. She's just about everywhere in JPJ, but more than anything, we know that she's a great coach, and we're pretty confident in our ability to play and our coach's ability to coach as well.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Seeing none, y'all can go back to the locker room. Appreciate it. Open up for questions for Coach Boyle at this time. Pete with the first one.
Joanne, like I was talking about with Fee, how nice is it to know that you have somebody? I mean, there's a difference between being a senior and being a sophomore, and Fee is still developing. How nice is it to know that you have somebody at least who can match up a little bit height-wise with Asia?
It is. It's, you know, Fee has grown so much over the last 2 years, and when she goes in and she's confident, you know, she can really just change the feel of the game, especially on the defensive end. Obviously, her defense is ahead of her offense right now, and you know, and a lot of times with Lauren in there, you got to send double times or do different things. You know, but with Fee, a lot of times it's just one-on-one basketball, so it just gives us so much more opportunity to do other things with her. You know, we don't have to scheme as much when Fee's in the game. She can handle most post players by herself. But again, Asia, she's an unbelievable player, one of the best players in the country, if not the best. And you know, it's going to take all of us. You know, Fee might be the only person on my team that might be able to handle her one-on-one, but other than that, it's going to be a team effort.
Stay over here on the left, Chris.
Now that you've had a chance to look at South Carolina and what they do, and outside the obvious of Wilson, what concerns you the most about what they do?
They're just a great team. You know, they have a lot of really good moving pieces, moving parts. Obviously, they're anchored by Asia, you know, but Jennings and those Bianca Jackson, I mean, they all contribute in different ways. I think they're a great rebounding team. I think we got to make it just tough for Asia to get what she wants to get. I think we got to keep them off the boards. You know, they're +4 or 5 in the league on the boards in a great rebounding league. They push the ball in transition. We have got to be on point with our transition defense. They get 15 points off the free throw line. We cannot put them on the line. They average about 70 points a game, and we got to keep them closer to into that 60 range, you know, to really have a good chance here. So we know what we need to do. It's just a matter of doing it, you know. So again, we've game planned. My assistants have done a great job preparing and getting everything together. We had a really, really, really good practice today, and we're gonna come out and give them our best shot.
Go back to Pete.
Joanne, about the Virginia men's game, I mean, the girls were talking about using it for motivation. I mean, when you watched it, I'm sure it's a mix of like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised, and you probably hurt for a colleague like Tony and the guys who you see on a regular basis up there.
Yeah, I think my first reaction is just painful for Tony and the team. But, you know, we texted last night, and, you know, Tony is so rooted in his faith, and he can really stand firm in that and really show that and talk to that with his guys. And he knows that this one game does not define him. It does not define his program. It does not define his team. And they had an unbelievable season. Unbelievable season. They set records after records, and it was a really special group for him. He, like every year, you love your program, but this was a special group. There wasn't, you know, NBA guys that, you know, just down the line, and so they were just able to play as such a unit. And, you know, just texting back and forth, I just said, you know, just, you know who you're rooted in, you know, and he shows it, you know, he lives it and he walks it every day, and I'm just so thankful to have him in my life. He's just a great friend and a great role model, and yeah, you feel for him, you know, but he's going to have a lot more great games and great years, and, you know, so.
Go back to Pete.
Can your players use that for motivation, that they're here competing in the round of 32 and holding up the banner for Virginia? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's like Aaliyah said, you know, it's March Madness. You see a 16 team come out and just play, and that was what I saw last night with North Carolina A&T. I mean, they just came out and played. They just went. They just said, we're going full at you. Whatever happens, happens. They didn't leave anything on the court. They just left it all out there. And I told the team, I said, even for me watching them, if they made a mistake or two, they didn't care. They just let it go and kept it moving. And that's what you got to do when it comes down to this. You got to leave it all out there. You know, you have to game plan, but in the end, you're going to put it in your players' hands. You're going to say, go play, go for it. You know. and that's why you play. That's, you know, you set your team up to do the best they can, and you roll the ball out, and you hope they take care of business.
Let's go back to TV rope.
Joanne, I know you're tired of getting asked this question.
Let me guess.
Yeah. What does Dawn Staley, going up against her, what's it mean?
She's, you know, Dawn's career just speaks for itself, obviously. Best player ever played at the University of Virginia. Her playing career, her coaching career, and now what she's doing with the national team. She's been a great ambassador for Virginia. And I admire everything she does and will continue to do. And for me, I just try and go in and prepare the best I can against anybody we're playing. You know, I can't make it bigger than what it is, because if I do, then the team's going to look at it that way. So we're just competing as colleagues and coaches, and she's going to prepare her team as best she can. I'm going to prepare my team as best we can, and we're going to go out and we're going to have 40 minutes of a great game, I hope.
Over here to the left, Chris.
Take the fact that Dawn came from Virginia, but the way she built this program from when she came into South Carolina to where it is now, is that like the model for what you're trying to follow?
Oh, for sure. I mean, she's done an unbelievable job at taking it, like you said, where it was and building it. You know, the fans here are great. I think we have a really, really, really good fan base at Virginia too. You know, we just got to build on. You know, the more success you have, the more people want to come out and watch you play. So obviously, she has a great template for what has brought a lot of success to this program, including the community.
Go back to Pete.
Joanne, in that vein, you've been at Virginia a little bit. Did you ever worry that you would not? Did you have moments of doubt when you wondered whether you'd get to this point?
You know, I'm similar to Tony. I'm very strong in my faith. I don't go down that path very often. I think most coaches are harder on themselves than anybody else can be. But I know where I'm rooted and strong. And I knew this did take longer. We did have some opportunities. We came up really short in 2 different years where we didn't get into the tournament. I knew we were clawing and knocking at the door. And, you know, all the pieces came together, and we were so close last year, and the team was just so confident in where we could go, and we just kind of buckled down and did what we needed to do this year, and we end up in this situation. So for me, you know, I have a purpose in my life, and I'm not just a basketball coach, and I hope that I have poured into these girls as they have me, and we'll just keep plugging along and making it work.
Over to Greg.
Coach, what does a 9 p.m. start do for you guys? What are the challenges? What does your day look like?
We'll let them sleep in a little bit after, and you know, we're missing a lot of school, so we will be doing some study hall tomorrow, as we have since we've been here. We got a lot of young women that are in some tough classes, so we'll get a little bit of study hall in, and they'll get some free time and some nap time, and we'll come in and do our shoot around and obviously the media stuff. But we're going to keep in a little bit, you know, of their routine and get them out of the hotel. We don't want them sitting in the hotel all day, so we'll just kind of break it up between meals, study hall, naps, probably watching March Madness basketball throughout the day, and just getting ready for the game. So it is a late start time, but it does give us a little bit more rest on the back end.
Any other questions for Coach? Oh, we got one over here, Chris.
You had a lot of success forcing Cal into some turnovers yesterday, and on the flip side, South Carolina struggled turning the ball over. What do you need to do to try to make that play out again tomorrow?
You know, defensive, we're just gonna come out and play. Let me just say that. You know, we're gonna play our game. We're gonna scheme a little bit. We're gonna play accordingly. We're not gonna get outside ourselves too much. If we press and it works for us, great. If it doesn't, we'll do some other things. But I think for us in particular, it's really crucial that we just protect the paint, keep them off the free throw line, and we handle our business on the other end of the floor. So again, we have to take care of us and just make sure that we're solid in our game plan and come in and, you know, they know their personnel. I mean, I think that's really important. Know who's on the floor for them, know what their strengths are, know what we can take away from certain people, and just have a really good team game plan.
Any other questions for Coach Boyle? Seeing none? All right. That's a wrap. Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.